In a world filled with constant noise and endless distractions, it's easy to let every little comment or setback get under your skin. But what if you could train your mind to remain unshakable, to act as if nothing bothers you? Imagine walking through life with complete control, no longer trapped by your emotions, but owning them instead. In this video, I'll teach you how to cultivate an unshakable mindset so you can navigate life's challenges with unwavering confidence and composure. Life is filled with opinions, frustrations, and unexpected setbacks. The world is relentless in its ability to throw distractions and criticisms your way. But true strength comes from mastering the art of indifference. Imagine walking through a storm without flinching, without losing your composure. This is what it means to act as if nothing bothers you. The key is to detach your emotions from external circumstances. When you allow external events to dictate your mood, you become a puppet to forces beyond your control. But when you train your mind to remain unmoved, you become the master of your destiny. The world respects those who remain calm in chaos, who don't crumble under pressure. When you embody this mindset, you command authority without saying a word. You move through life with power, with presence, with unshakable confidence. Think of the most influential individuals in history. They were not those who reacted impulsively to every slight or criticism. Instead, they moved with an air of control, as if they knew something the rest of the world did not. Their strength was not in their ability to argue or fight back, but in their ability to remain unaffected. Consider the philosophy found in self-mastery and success literature. The most powerful lesson is that thought precedes action. What you think, you become. If you constantly react emotionally to the world, you give away your power. But if you cultivate an unwavering mindset, the world bends to your will. Those who achieve great things in life understand this principle. Control the mind, and you control your reality. Imagine a scenario where someone insults you in public. The natural response for most is anger, retaliation, or self-defense. But what happens when you simply smile and walk away? You rob the instigator of their power. They expected a reaction, and when they don't get it, they are left unsettled. You, on the other hand, walk away stronger, untouched, undefeated. This is the silent dominance that few understand but all admire. The same applies to failures and setbacks. When faced with rejection or defeat, most people let their emotions take over. They drown in frustration, losing days, weeks, or even years lamenting over what went wrong. But those who understand the power of indifference see failure as nothing more than data, a learning experience, an adjustment, a stepping stone. They do not internalize failure. They observe, adapt, and move forward. How do you cultivate this level of control? It begins with training your mind. Daily practice the habit of pausing before reacting. Ask yourself, does this situation truly affect my long-term goals? Is my reaction necessary? Or am I giving away my power? By consistently choosing non-reaction, you build an armor that shields you from the trivialities of life. Another crucial element is visualization. See yourself as someone who moves through life unaffected. Picture a version of yourself who does not flinch at insults, who does not crumble under pressure. When you reinforce this image in your mind, it becomes your reality. The mind is powerful, and what you repeatedly visualize, you become. Let people wonder why you're not rattled. Let them question how you stay composed. Because when you show that nothing bothers you, you control the game. You become an enigma, someone people look up to, but can never quite figure out. And in that mystery lies your strength. True power is not about domination or aggression. It is about presence. A presence so strong that it doesn't need to prove itself. A presence that commands respect through silence, through an unshakable state of mind. Master this, and you master life. To stay unshaken, think about the strongest people you know. They don't react impulsively. They don't let emotions dictate their actions. They pause, they assess, they respond with intention. This is not because they lack emotions, but because they have mastered them. Emotional detachment isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about controlling them. Picture this. You're in a heated argument, and the other person is trying to provoke you. Do you react? Do you let their words control your emotions? Or do you smile, unaffected, knowing their words hold no weight unless you give them power? Emotional detachment is about refusing to hand over your peace to external forces. It's about understanding that your inner world is sacred, untouchable. When you adopt this approach, stress decreases, clarity increases, and life's challenges become mere puzzles to solve, not battles to fight. Think of the principle that thoughts shape reality. What you focus on, you attract. When you allow external events to dictate your state of mind, you become a slave to circumstances. But when you take control of your thoughts and emotions, you become the architect of your own fate. Consider the story of a man who lost everything. His business collapsed, his investments crumbled, and he was left with nothing. Most would drown in despair, but not him. Instead, he saw the failure as a lesson, not a tragedy. He understood that his mind was his greatest asset, and no external loss could take that away. With this mindset, he rebuilt everything stronger than before. This is the power of detachment. When you stop identifying with failures or setbacks, you free yourself to rise above them. A major reason people fail to achieve their goals is emotional turbulence. They let fear, doubt, and frustration control them. They start with ambition, but give up the moment challenges arise. But those who master detachment understand that emotions are just fleeting sensations. They don't allow temporary feelings to derail long-term goals. They persist because they have trained their minds to see obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. Panic, and you remain calm while others react. In doing so, you gain an advantage that few ever will. True strength is not about physical dominance or loud displays of power. It's about having an unshakable presence, one that commands respect without demanding it. When you master the art of emotional detachment, you don't just navigate life, you control it. Mindful indifference is a superpower. We are conditioned to believe we must care about everything. People's opinions, their judgments, everything. But think of the people you admire most. They aren't the ones desperately seeking approval or reacting emotionally to every challenge. They are the ones who stand firm, unshaken by the noise of the world. They know who they are, and because of that, they cannot be easily manipulated or influenced. When you adopt this mindset, something remarkable happens. People start to respect you more, not because you seek their validation, but because they see you as someone who cannot be moved. Next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising over something minor, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. Train yourself to let go of what does not serve you. Another powerful practice is setting clear priorities. Define what truly matters in your life, your purpose, your growth, your peace of mind. When you have a strong foundation of self-worth, the opinions and judgments of others lose their grip on you. You become untouchable, not because you have everyone's approval, but because you no longer require it. True confidence isn't given. It's built through self-reliance, through knowing that you don't need anyone's permission to be yourself. Think about the most magnetic individuals you've ever encountered. They don't beg for approval. They don't shrink themselves to fit in. They own who they are, flaws and all, and that's what makes them powerful. They build on self-belief, and that is what makes them unstoppable. If you want to break free from the approval trap, start by asking yourself whose opinion truly matters. More often than not, the loudest voices are from those who do not walk your path, who do not understand your journey. Their words carry no real weight unless you allow them to. Another crucial step is learning to validate yourself. Acknowledge your own progress. Celebrate your wins, big or small. When you start recognizing your own worth, you become untouchable. Not because you have everyone's approval, but because you no longer require it. Handle criticism. Criticism is inevitable, but how you handle it defines your strength. Most people crumble at the first sign of disapproval. They take every comment to heart, allowing it to shape their self-identity, dictate their actions, and weaken their resolve. But criticism is nothing more than words, opinions, and perspectives. Those opinions are meaningless unless you make the mistake of internalizing them. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. As he chisels away, people stop to watch. Some admire his work, some offer helpful suggestions, and others mock his efforts. Does the sculptor abandon his vision because of a few negative voices? No, he continues, guided by his inner vision, filtering out the noise. This is how you must approach criticism. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, does this person have the experience or knowledge to offer valuable feedback? If yes, learn from it. If not, dismiss it. When you master this habit, you free yourself from the emotional burden of seeking approval. Another powerful approach is self-conviction. When you truly believe in your path, external opinions lose their grip on you. Confidence comes from within, not from the approval or disapproval of others. Obstacles will appear, unexpected setbacks will come, but you do not react emotionally. You respond with strategy, with calm calculation. Most people crack under pressure because they resist reality. They expect everything to be smooth, predictable, and within their grasp. And when life proves otherwise, they panic, they complain, they freeze. But those who train themselves to embrace uncertainty, they adapt. They move with the chaos, not against it. Think of a seasoned warrior. He does not enter battle expecting ease and control. He understands that difficulty is part of the journey. This is what makes them stand out. People look at them and wonder, how does nothing faze them? How do they stay so composed while others fall apart? It is because they have trained their minds to expect difficulty. They have rehearsed their reactions before the test even arrives. They understand that emotions cloud judgment, and so they detach from unnecessary feelings. They prioritize logic over panic, and in doing so, they maintain an advantage that most will never have. To build this resilience, practice detachment. When you learn to separate yourself from emotions, from outcomes, from external chaos, you gain an advantage over those who are constantly reacting. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means control. It means understanding that you cannot control the world, but you can always control your response to it. Imagine a storm. Most people get caught in the winds, tossed around by circumstances, struggling against forces they cannot control. But those with unshakable minds, they stand firm. They move through life with a level of confidence, control, and power that few ever achieve. And when others ask how you remain so steady, so unbothered, so composed, you will know the answer. You trained for this. You built this, and nothing can take it from you. Mastering the art of moving in silence. Real power moves in silence. It doesn't seek attention. It doesn't need validation. It simply acts and lets the results speak for themselves. The loudest people in the room are often the weakest. They crave attention and validation because they lack inner strength. But those who move in silence, they understand that true power lies in action, not in words. They don't waste energy on meaningless chatter. They understand that speaking less does not mean knowing less. On the contrary, it means knowing more. If you want to cultivate power through silence, start practicing restraint. The next time you're in a conversation, pause before speaking. Observe the room. Listen more than you talk. Let others reveal themselves first. The less you say, the more people will lean in when you finally speak. Another way to harness silence is to embrace it in moments of tension. These are the moments that test your composure. Imagine being in a negotiation. The person across from you presents an offer and expects an immediate response. But instead of reacting, you pause. You let the silence stretch. The longer you wait, the more unsettled they become. They start second-guessing, filling the silence with more information, revealing their thoughts, their insecurities, their intentions. Meanwhile, you remain a mystery, and in that mystery lies power. Imagine being in a heated argument. The other person is trying to provoke you, expecting a reaction. But instead of reacting, you hold back. You force them to reveal themselves. The more they speak, the more they expose their thoughts, their insecurities, their intentions. Meanwhile, you remain composed, and in that composure lies power. Silence is not passivity. It is strategy. It forces people to fill in the gaps, to speculate, to overthink. And in that overthinking, they often reveal more than they intended. Those who move in silence understand that true power lies not in loud displays, but in quiet control. They don't need to explain their vision to those who wouldn't understand. They simply build, create, and dominate in silence. If you want to master this, develop the discipline to keep your ambitions private. Work relentlessly, but do not seek applause. Let people wonder about your next move. Let them question how you stay so composed, so unfazed. The less they know, the more control you have. Silence is not passivity. It is strategy. It forces people to fill in the gaps, to speculate, to overthink. And in that overthinking, they often reveal more than they intended. To train an unshakable mind, you must build mental habits. Gratitude to counter negativity. Discipline to override laziness. Detachment to eliminate suffering. Just as the body grows stronger through repeated resistance, the mind becomes resilient through daily training. You cannot expect mental toughness to appear in moments of crisis if you have not cultivated it daily. Detachment is key. When you learn to separate yourself from emotions, from outcomes, from external chaos, you gain an advantage over those who are constantly reacting. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means control. It means understanding that you cannot control the world, but you can always control your response to it. Imagine a storm. Most people get caught in the winds, tossed around by circumstances, struggling against forces they cannot control. But those with unshakable minds, they stand firm. They move through life with a level of confidence, control, and power that few ever achieve. And when others ask how you remain so steady, so unbothered, so composed, you will know the answer. You trained for this, you built this, and nothing can take it from you.